Hello, everybody, and welcome to the KOps office hours. I am your moderator, facilitator, Justin Santa Barbara. I work at Google. Today is Friday, December 18th. This will be our last meeting of 2020. We do have a couple of things on the agenda. Please do feel free to add things to the agenda if you would like to, and add your name if you would like to. We have a relatively light festive attendance today, but I think we can just dive right in. The first thing on the agenda is that I was supposed to review the etcd Terraform resource name issue. I did not do that, but I shall do that immediately following this meeting. I will do that. I don't know if there were any other action items from last time that we were supposed to review.
I think there was me killing Travis CI integration, which is gone.
That's great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, so the first item on the agenda, on the main discussion agenda, is from Ole, who I don't see here today, but a PR 10439 to review the node authorizer in 1.20. I don't know if anyone can speak to this.
I discussed with him a bit about this. From what I know, node authorizer role was moved to kops controller, or is it still used in any form at the moment?
I think it's only used on AWS. That is the other thing on my agenda for this afternoon, is to look at getting support for that on GCP going. Is that correct? Yes. But I think maybe the node authorizer only worked on AWS anyway. I will certainly take a look at this as well and see what the status is. Because if I recall correctly, John, we are always using node authorizer on AWS. It's not even feature flagged.
Yeah, I didn't think the old node authorizer was AWS specific, though.
Okay, it wasn't. I thought it was just only. Okay, I'll take a look. It might have only been implemented for AWS.
But then no, I think there was there's a no authorization mode, which I think works anywhere. But so you could have no authorization. But yeah, who knows if anyone's using that?
Well,
yes.
for sure it's not built in any way by us.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it going away. I wasn't going to remove it myself.
Okay, well, yeah, I think definitely it's the direction we're going in. I don't know about timing. I feel like getting more support into the AWS node, getting support from more clouds into the new node authorizer pipeline would be good, and would be a good directional thing.
Yeah, I was concerned about existing clusters on down rev versions, but then you correctly noted it was feature flagged.
Okay.
Maybe we should announce it and remove it in a version.
That seems reasonable. Like, sort of see if people want to speak up about their usage of it.
Well, I think Ole made it, added it to the 119 release notes as deprecated, and we can remove it in 120. So.
Okay. Yeah, we should. I can also check with the people that originally added that to see if they're still using it.
Okay.
Next item is from Merrill3 about etcd manager, an etcd manager bug. I presume a bug. Yes. I will take a look at what this is.
I think he did a lot of digging in etcd manager. He added some more comments and his research on the issue of upgrading. So I think he explained how to reproduce it.
Okay. It might also be the, I wonder if it's also the certificate change in Go 1.15 where they decided to enforce, like mark old certificates, like start requiring the cert to be in the subject alternative names instead of the CN. But yeah, I'll take a look at this as well.
But I don't think etcd manager is yet on Go 1.15.
Okay.
I tried to make it work on Go 1.15, and indeed there were some certificate issues.
I think I put in a fix to get that to pass, but we'll see whether it's actually passing. But yeah, the migration is going to be interesting. All right, Cyprian, you have the next item around container demigration.
As we all know, it will happen somehow. And I was thinking, besides the test grid changes, it's a bit overwhelming at the moment with all the tabs, and they run pretty rarely to make sense of the results. So a bit on the side, as a side note, I don't think weekly tests help that much. I mean, it would help if they would always work without flakes, but unfortunately, there is I don't know, 25% chance for something to fail, or I don't know, maybe a little smaller. And then no one will, and you also see only the 2 weeks of results because that's the configuration. A bit hard to change that. I think Peter tried and couldn't do much. So my proposal would be to change our periodic tests from Docker to Containerd. We have a bunch of them for various distros, networking that run pretty much about 3 times a day. So would give us, I would say it's not as good as the grid, but would give us enough results to get an idea of what's failing. Enable an always running pre-submit for Containerd. I don't think that would add too many runs because we're not as, let's say, popular as Kubernetes. And I don't know if everything works, default for new clusters in 120, so only new clusters, and 121 move everyone to Containerd.
I like all the plan and everything there. I think that all sounds good. I don't know if anyone else has any opinions. If not, I can speak to the grid test. So on the grid test, I don't know if, I can't remember who merged it. Thank you to whoever merged it. I've started annotating the jobs with the parameters. And the intent is that I want to start to capture the results, like the configuration and the results separately from test grid, because I agree, like the test grid results, the results I've shown in test grid are like, they're nice to drill down if you want to like click on one particular test, but they aren't really reflective of the grid approach, which is, you know, that the tests are not individually interesting. They are only interesting in aggregate. So you have to like slice across all the configurations and say like, which is the most likely, which is the top configuration that flakes, and then look at that across multiple ones. So in other words, like I did an early like analysis of this, and I think we can say like, you know, like for the sake of argument, using think actually like rel 7 or rel 6 and Cilium doesn't work or something like that. And that was like one of the top, some combination like that was one of the top like factors. And so like deciding what we do about that, like either excluding it because it just can't be fixed or fixing it. So that's why that's sort of where I'm going with the grid is to try to gather information in aggregate that we don't see on the individual runs. We can also retain those results for longer by mirroring
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, if we could capture those results, then we could actually query them. You can stick them into some database and actually provide some useful details about them, and then pull the data out that when we want to actually rerun a test that is flaky.
Exactly.
So I think that makes a lot of sense.
And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little. I'm not quite sure I like the idea of switching for newly created clusters in one version and then changing the default later, because that means clusters creating that time are then explicitly configured for that. I think we might just want to pick a version and say, when Kubernetes is greater than this version, you default to containerd.
Yes, this is sort of what the upgrade thing is supposed to deal with, right? Is to sort of help you. Originally, like back in the day, this was the kops upgrade command was supposed to do. It's like get you off a locked configuration that is likely wrong. So when eventually, so if someone today locks on Docker, then when we change the default, we could recommend they unlock from Docker. They don't have to, but we can recommend that, like you probably want to consider this. And similarly, if something replaces containerd, then we can say like you might want to like unlock from containerd. But the intent there is just to gain some insight before we switch the default, but we have such rich testing, maybe we don't. Maybe we can just change the default, especially as the entire ecosystem is moving.
That too. The only bigger issue is Docker configuration. So maybe we don't change people that have Docker settings. We cannot map those one-to-one to containerd, and I really don't want to. I mean, they should make it themselves.
Yeah, agreed. That makes sense. So like, I don't know what they.
So we just have complicated logic for figuring out what the default is, which is probably okay.
Yeah, more complicated. I wouldn't say it's that complicated, right?
Yeah, but
it's just like if something exists, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, and we'll log a warning.
Trade-off.
That.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm fine with moving the periodic jobs, the more rapid periodic jobs, the named periodic jobs, I guess, to containerd.
Okay.
I can't remember whether we put in. We didn't yet. Did we double? Did we do CRI? Did we do containerd and Docker in the grid or not? I can't remember whether I actually did that or not.
It's
Yes. Cool.
Yeah. And spend some time this week, I think, or I don't know, fixing some of the stuff that was failing, excluding some of the tests that don't make sense in our case, and should be better.
That's awesome.
And it probably is about time to start moving most of our jobs to Kubernetes 120.
That was on the to-do list with the releases. I would say that let's discuss then, and I think once we release 119, which hopefully soon, we can move everything to 120.
I don't think we have to wait for releasing 119, but
Well,
I mean, we'll need some jobs on 19, but that also has to be on kops 119.
True, but we don't do that. So I don't know.
We also can, like, separate from the grid is the idea of generating those jobs. I thought there was another script to generate some other ones, so we could look at like whether we want to do that, whether it would make the maintenance of those jobs easier. I don't know whether it would or it would not.
I think it would. Indeed. We can create such a thing.
Okay, well, I can have a look at doing that then, 120 jobs from script, because I can't remember whether there is a script or not alongside Go Grid. I feel like there is, but I can't recall. But this would be testing the latest Kubernetes with, sorry, the latest KOps with Kubernetes 120. The grid, by the way, does, amongst its ridiculous traversal of impossible combinations, test skewed Kubernetes and KOps versions. I don't recall whether it goes up. I don't think it does.
I think there is a catch there that we try to test kops versions with higher Kubernetes versions. That I don't think it would work.
Okay, I can look at that, like grid. There is the environment variable grid with higher Kates than KOps.
We have jobs which test the latest kops with alpha Kubernetes, and those set the environment variable. The rest, everything is within constraints.
Okay.
I think almost all the jobs have now the 2 new version variable because of 120, and we are on 119 yet still, including for master. We didn't bump the version internally.
Yeah, but I thought we're testing most of our stuff against 119, but anyway. We can see what we're doing.
So then on the container demigration, it sounds like there's a decision to be made, I guess at our next meeting or that sort of time frame, about whether we would like to change the default. If we're going to change the default across the board, whether we want to change the default in 120 or 121.
Okay.
And we can use test data to inform that.
Sounds good.
Okay, is there anything else on that topic?
I think we're good.
Okay. Cyprian, you also have the next topic, which is around some ARM64 conformance flakes.
ARM64 tests are pretty much working. So the regular ones where we exclude the serial and slow job, they're failing consistently on the storage jobs because there are no ARM64 containers to help build some of the stuff around it. It needs some help from the 6 storage people.
Yeah. Are they aware? Do we know? Is there an issue for that?
I had a discussion. There was an issue, but it was 6 months ago, and didn't have much time to follow up on that. Maybe for 121. But we also have a conformance test, so it's, I don't know, plain conformance. That if you look at the results, it's failing totally random. I have no idea why. I tried to look into it with Peter at one time, but maybe if someone can help understand what happens there, what actually breaks it, maybe, I don't know, would get somewhere faster.
Yeah, I can have a look at that as well. I think it looks like there's one test which is always failing.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, yes, I agree. There's no real pattern here. It may be timing. One thing we could try is to beef up to use bigger
We tried
Okay.
keeping up. We tried changing the parallelism, but I think we need to understand what exactly breaks, because I don't know if it should. It's using pretty good nodes, so not the something, and I don't think it should fail. I mean,
Agreed. Like it should be pretty rare. If it's a timing flake, it should be pretty rare, especially on conformance.
well, seems to me like one test is breaking the whole setup, and the tests that run at the same time with it are broken. So because they run in parallel. So depending on what tests run, but seem that tests fail in different bulks. So one fails in the beginning, one towards the end. So I don't think, yeah, better to look into the logs and see if we can understand what the issue is.
Oh yeah, these are really interesting. Yeah, there's some interesting ones in here. These are okay. Yeah, I just picked one at random and saw the kubelet failing to sync the secret cache, which I've never seen before, but doesn't sound good. It sounds like maybe
if it would happen to the other two tests that are without the slow and serial tests, I would say that, yeah, maybe we have a problem with ARM in general, but this is only the conformance ones. So.
Yeah. Conformance looks like it's using the CI latest release marker for Kubernetes. So it's using 121 alpha 0. Maybe we could move that down to a more stable version.
It happened all the time. If you look, we have one of the other two jobs that's running also on CI latest and one on CI stable. So, yeah.
I'll definitely take a look at this. Yeah. There's a really weird label selector. Okay, yeah, I'll take a look. It looks like one of the names, instance names, is too long, but anyway, I will take a look.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Sorry. Next on the agenda. Oh, it's me. So there are me. Hello. There are. I updated my add-ons PR that's been up for a long time, and I also sent another one. The two of them. The first one is basically based primarily on John's excellent feedback around the security model. And so the change we've made we can make in cluster add-ons is to effectively pre-create the RBAC, so the operator itself doesn't need to create the RBAC roles. And so the operator needs vastly fewer permissions, still a couple more than I would like, but vastly fewer. So I think you will be more happy, John, in that regard. The next one might make you even more happy, which is retain sort of the execution model today, where we run the operator in a sort of one-shot model. We run it client side, and I'll come back to that in a second. We run it in the kops CLI, and we basically find out the manifest that will be created. And so it goes into the bootstrap YAML as if there was no operator involved. There's no operator that runs at all. There are probably other modes in between, but those are the sort of ones that I think are most interesting. The huge downside of the pre-running is it now requires us to run Docker as part of KOps. So that has two gotchas. One of which is Docker in Docker is still not a thing, or is still a thing. And the other one of which is it would be nice, it would be nice to not have a dependency on Docker at all. There may be things we can do there, but that's the gotcha there. So it's a good model in that regard. It gets a good model in that it gets rid of it enables us to update add-ons without updating, without having to update the kops binary, and it enables them to have processing, complicated processing. So that's good, I think. The downside is the need for Docker execution in that mode. It's not required everywhere else. It's only required in that mode, but that is a downside. And I've been like pondering how we can make it better. Like, we can run in gvisor, or rootless containers seem to be coming and may actually not require Docker installed and may run in a container, that sort of thing. So that's an option, or like just run it in a chroot, which isn't great. So those sort of things are what I'm thinking about. But anyway, if people want to look at it and comment on it, that would be greatly received. I don't think either one of them is like technically ready to merge. Like I think they both have conflicts, but the idea should be there, and you can sort of see the RBAC permissions we're able to whittle down to by pre-creating the RBAC, and you're able to see the Docker execution. So any comments gratefully received. Any comments on that? Otherwise, that's the last item in our open discussion. So if anyone wants to add bring up a topic, please do so. Otherwise, we'll go on to recurring topics. Excuse me. All right. First item on the recurring topics is when should we have the next informal meeting and plans for the January 1st meeting? I think we pre-talked about the plans for the January 1st meeting, which is that we're not going to have one. And so our next meeting would therefore be on the 15th-ish of January. And I think we should probably therefore have an informal meeting. I personally am going to take a little time off in between that, so I prefer it to be after the 1st. Yeah, so either before Christmas or after the 1st. It could be good to do, we could try to do an informal one. I don't know, would people rather do something next week before Christmas, which probably means Monday or Tuesday? Hold on, I'm struggling to do the math. Yes, Monday or Tuesday, I guess. Or would people rather do something after the 1st or both?
I think after, or somewhere around the 5th, maybe.
That seems to be the other people agree? I'm just looking at, bringing up a calendar here.
Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, we can aim for the 5th or the 6th. I'll bring it up in the kops dev Slack channel, if that.
I think it would be better to set it now than to do it there, because usually it gets lost.
Okay.
So,
how about the 5th at, do we want to do our normal time slot at?
no, let's do it as the informal ones, the earlier.
Sorry, I mean our
So-
normal early time, which is, I can't remember. Is it 10?
No, it's
10 Eastern.
9 Eastern.
9 Eastern?
I think, did I get that right? 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you got it right.
5th, January 5th. So January 5th at 9 a.m. we will do an informal one, and otherwise we'll have our next formal one at on January 15th at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Okay, and then we have nothing yet planned for releases for the upcoming weeks, but we have a discussion of 118, 119, and 120. We have a 118.3 with a couple of blocking PRs, which I think the second one is the etcd Terraform naming, which I will look at. And the first one is Cyprian, is around backporting the target group related fixes.
Yes. Those things were attaching target groups to the clusters, which, I don't know, for me, it's an important feature. I guess other people use it too. And I think it's fixed. I would appreciate a review from Peter and Rodrigo. And with this and cherry picks of whatever we decide for etcd, 118 can be released. Sorry, you're mute.
I was sorry. Yes, that sounds good to me. I think any other input there? Otherwise, 119. Oh, sorry, Peter, did you want to say something?
Is it worth discussing the etcd Terraform issue at all?
Well, seems an important issue for various people. So let's do a quick discussion, or if you want to.
So the gist is that Terraform 0.12 no longer allows resource names to begin with a digit. Under certain scenarios, kops create cluster would populate etcd member names to start with a digit if the digit is the first, is it like the unique part of whatever the full cluster name is or something like that, or the zone?
It happens when you have a single zone cluster, but with multiple masters, I think. Some.
And so if the etcd members start with a digit, then their Terraform EBS volumes resource names start with a digit. And Terraform 0.12 doesn't like that. And so we talked about, can we change the member names on an existing cluster without disruption? And I think that impacts how etcd manager does its discovery. And so I don't think there's a documented way to do that. Maybe Justin has ideas, or we change just how the Terraform resource name is generated in those scenarios where the name would otherwise start with a digit. And then users that are impacted by this would need to Terraform state move the volume from the old resource name to the new resource name. The risk of that is if they upgrade kops to the version that includes this fix, generate the Terraform output, and then Terraform apply without reading the upgrade instructions, Terraform will destroy their EBS volumes and render the cluster useless. We don't have, Terraform does have prevention measures to prevent accidental deletion of EBS volumes and stuff, but we don't have that set already. And I believe that it needs to be set before the apply for it to take effect.
And it would need to be set in Terraform 11, 0.11, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Good issue.
Never restrict your, never reduce the set of names you allow. It's like, all right. I don't see any, I think we have to do the rename the Terraform resource. I don't know how we can make that more acceptable more palatable for users. We could, what if we refuse to upgrade to Terraform 12 if they have this problem? And then do something. I don't know. Yeah, it's not great. Like we could put the don't delete annotation. It's just not great. Yeah, all right. I'm trying to think what the right way to mitigate is.
I mean, they do have etcd manager backups that they can restore from.
Oh, that's actually not a bad point. Like it's not going to, it will lose some data, but it's not going to, yeah.
And actually, if they manage to kill all 3 volumes, it will try to automatically get the backup.
It might, does it or not? Don't you have to, I think you still have to specify there's a command you have to specify. So there, yeah, but it is a good point that there is the backups. There are the backups.
I don't know, I think I saw somewhere in logs that it actually tries to do a restore automatically if it finds backups and all volumes are empty.
Okay. I will take a look at that again this afternoon. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what we can do better. We could lobby Terraform to revert their breaking change, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Okay, let's talk about the 119 then. It looks like all of them are mostly on me or against me, the blockers. I just added in the 371.
Okay, cool.
To at least look at. And I will try to do this afternoon as well.
So from my point of, let's look at the issues that are open. So
Yeah, I don't think service account signing key rotation is going to happen. I'll take that one out.
Yeah, we don't have many. I can try to share this screen just so we can quickly look at them. Let's see, how do I do this? Share screen. Can we see that? Can we see that? Yeah, so we have a cherry pick, which looks good. That shouldn't be an issue. The etcd cluster name issue with Terraform. This, I believe, is already listed as a blocker, which I think is coming down to the version of, yeah, if we use the particular images that I built, that they pre-start Docker, and we don't want to do that. This one, I think,
That I took out.
Perfect.
Done, refresh.
This one should not be in 119. I'm actually working on this one right now, but I'll take this one out right now as well. I think I'm not logged in here. Yeah, I'm not logged in. Thank you. And this one, I think, as well deserves to, should come out. I feel like you've already done that, so I think it's probably obsolete, but let's at least take out the milestone. I will make sure.
I think John already added a comment to it asking if this is still needed. So
it probably is not. I'm actually working right now on this booting nodes without state store access. I feel like that's interesting, and I think it's actually might be easy to add to the authorizer that John added previously. So I'm playing with that and seeing whether that is actually the case. Okay, so I think that's yeah. It sounds like there's a couple of issues that are that we know about, but otherwise it sounds like, and they're mostly mine to fix. Otherwise, it sounds like we're in good shape for 119. Is that accurate?
I think there's some missing docs that should be added, like tell people that ARM64 is there. But
that would be great, yeah. But it's not feature flagged, right? So but you have to opt in by choosing an image.
And the right instance.
And the instance, correct. Sorry, yes, thank you. But yeah, so I think that's a great one to tell people about as a please try it if you're interested and let us know. But we do know that there are failures currently, so like the CSI failure. And
I will say that it's in beta for now, so should be good enough. Sorry,
that's I just have a small child. Okay. Okay, that would be great. And then go ahead. Sorry.
What is the plan then?
If we can burn these down, then we can I don't think there's any reason to rush a release of it right now. I don't know if anyone disagrees, but we can probably confirm the release, aim to confirm the release on the 5th. Does that make sense? Is it the 5th? We said, yeah, the 5th.
I was thinking that maybe we do a release. So from those issues that are remaining, the prefix should be something pretty easy to merge. So it's never gonna get better than this. I doubt anyone will start upgrading older versions of Kubernetes next week or something. Oh, the other things could be in a .1 release early next year. I feel that we delayed 119 quite a lot. So in 99% of the cases, it will work as well as it will work in January.
Yeah, it's just about whether we want to like have to like answer problem if something comes up, whether we want to have to deal with it, but like over this Christmas New Year period, right? Type thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be out.
If no one's going to use it before the 5th, why not just release on the 5th?
Yeah, that's what that's the direction I would lean to as well. But yeah, it is nice to get something out before the holidays as well.
I see both sides of the argument. I have no way of breaking the. What do you think, Cyprian?
I could release another beta if.
Perhaps that's a good compromise. Yes.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I like that.
Oh,
Let's do another
it's
beta.
easy. I can do it in an hour or two.
Okay, let's do that.
Release candidate. How about we call it a release candidate?
We don't do that.
Yeah, you can
I know,
call it release candidate, like be like beta whatever we're on, like 3, the release candidate.
actually,
But yes.
We still have some things to fix.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Should I try to create? Sorry, I think I'm ahead of things. Should I create a 120 alpha one?
Yeah, the only thing we have in the 120 alpha list is getting in Azure support. I feel like I can also take a look at that. I don't know how other people feel, like whether we should try to merge that and do the alpha.
It's actually already merged.
Great. Then
I proposed the alpha just so that users can start using Azure and test with it, and also to get our version on the master branch to be 120.
I like that idea. Yeah, that sounds good then.
So, but it's not merged. So you said, Peter, you said it's.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
It's ready to merge from your point of view. So if you want to take a look, anyone, I will try to take a look this weekend, and maybe, I don't know, Justin, would you like to give the approve?
You feel free to approve it. I will also take a look at it, but I'm sure it's fine. Like I think I looked at it before and it was mostly additive, so I think that's always my bigger concern, is whether it's going to like impact existing clusters.
Okay.
But that's amazing news. Thank you for all the reviews you would have done on that. All right, so we'll at some stage cut a alpha 120 alpha. And I don't know, Cyprian, did you want to do that? Or does someone else want to volunteer?
I don't mind if anyone else does it. I don't know. If you want to volunteer, let me know and I'll help.
All right, that sounds like a plan. All right. All right. That's the end of our agenda. I don't know if anyone else wants to bring up anything in the last minutes that we have. Otherwise, we can.
I think there are a few GCP issues. I don't have them on hand, but maybe you, Justin, or Eric could take a look at those. One is related to warnings or something during updates. I think Peter took a look at it a while ago, but couldn't get it moved. And I don't know, maybe there are a few more, maybe something simple or, so that we can fix some bugs before the release.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at those. I want to add the authentication support that is currently only implemented for AWS, add that to GCP as well. So I can also take a look at that time.
Cool.
If there's nothing else, anyone else want to bring up any topics? Otherwise, well, I wish everyone a very happy Christmas, New Year, Hanukkah, however you are celebrating it. And we will see you all in the new year, or on the 5th or on the 15th. 5th is informal, 15th will be our normal bi-weekly meeting. Thank you all for a wonderful 2020.
Holidays, everyone.
Bye.
Happy holidays.